and welcome back to Bookish theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about ATEEZ Deja Vu, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the storyline, the lyrics, and the music video. Deja Vu is a song co-written by Hyunjung and Mingi that portrays the intense feelings of a person who is seduced into a fantasy that they cannot escape. Now, the title of the song is a French phrase that literally translates into already seen, and this phrase refers to the feeling of having already lived a situation before. This is a phenomenon that in the video is portrayed visually, with the beginning and ending overlapping to express the sense of repetition that the song is all about, and in the lyrics the déjà vu is used to convey the intoxicating passion of a lover that lures you into the world of dream. Now, despite the song is obviously about a romantic relationship, if we look at it in the context of the storyline, déjà vu takes on a very different connotation, because as we'll see in a second, the events that take place in the video are a direct sequel to what we saw back in Fireworks. Back then, the boys showed us the beginning of their journey in the street land, which is a parallel dimension where human emotions are banned and people are controlled by a yellow smoke that makes them fall into an illusion. This is the home universe of the man in the black fedora that we already saw in the past, and in the Fever series, Hyunjung's initial interaction with his Tabo can be seen as a déjà vu because their first encounter actually takes place inside of a dream. Much like in the song, the boys are lured in the street land by an individual who calls them from a world that exists between reality and dream, and in the story, the man is able to accomplish this task because of the chromer, which is a magical device that is able to deliver messages via dream. Depending on the phases of the moon, however, the chromer is also able to teleport people from one dimension to the other, and this is exactly what took place back in the diary film, because as soon as the Fedora man gave the chromer to Hyunjung, the boys were zapped into the street land without them even realizing it. Now, the reason why the man in the fedora appeared to Hyunjung to begin with is actually connected to the world order of the street land, because if this reality is an emotionless dystopia controlled by AIs, Fedora Hyunjung is actually the leader of a resistance called the Black Pirates. In the story, the Black Pirates are hunted down by the android guardians, which are the giants dressed in white that act as the law enforcement in this universe, and since these giants eventually captured the pirates, the man in the fedora used the chromer to reach out to Hyunjung as a last resort. As soon as ATEEZ arrive in this new reality, however, the giants attack them too and steal the chromer for themselves, so now the boys not only have to free the pirates, but they also have to retrieve the chromer, because without this device they are stuck in this dystopia for good. The problem here is that achieving this task is easier said than done, because as I mentioned earlier, people are controlled by a yellow smoke that makes them fall into an illusion. This is a form of mind control that is very difficult to avoid, especially since at the very beginning the boys have no idea what is going on. Even if in the diary entries we discover that ATEEZ team up with members of the resistance, their journey is still very dangerous, because as we see the boys getting ready for their adventure, Jungkook gets intoxicated by the smoke and almost dies as a result. You see, when the illusion takes over, Jungkook doesn't see reality anymore, but rather a fantasy that makes him think that he's playing basketball even if in reality he's about to jump off a cliff. In the Diary of Fever Part 2 and 3, we discover that Yeosang saves him at the last minute and wakes him from his trance, but what's interesting here is that when Jungkook was under the influence, he perceived the illusion as reality and reality as a déjà vu. This connects us right back to the new title track, because much like what the lyrics foreshadow, this new stage of their journey portrays the boundary between dream and reality getting blurry yet again. If back in Fireworks the video showed us the boys getting ready to go save the Black Pirates and retrieve the chromer, this time around ATEEZ are right in the middle of the action. As it was already anticipated in the Diary of Fever Part 2, in order to free the pirates and get the chromer, the boys have to infiltrate the bunker of the android guardians, and according to Mingi's entry in Part 3, this bunker is located on an island that they can only access by boat. In the video, the story begins with the boys already on location, and much like in the Diary of Part 3, the boys successfully infiltrate the bunker of the giants. Much like what we see in the video, however, this is a very dangerous location, because while the boys have to avoid security, they also have to be careful not to get intoxicated by the yellow smoke. In the video, for instance, this idea is conveyed with Ooyang hallucinating the flowers, with Songhwa in a trance, and with Yeosang questioning his reality when he sees the butterfly on his hand, but in the diary we discover that the boys successfully avoid the smoke and eventually reach the prison of the Black Pirates. Much like what we see in the video, the boys discover the man in the fedora imprisoned in a glass case, and this is a very important scene because this is the first time where Hyunjung and his Tabo actually meet each other face to face. This is where the true meaning of déjà vu comes into play, because even if this encounter happened before, this is the first time that it's actually happening in real life. In the diary, this is a very emotional moment, but this encounter is soon interrupted by the giants, who eventually discover what is going on and force the boys to run away in order to save themselves. At this point, ATEEZ get separated, but when they finally reunite in the lobby, the boys discover that Yeosang actually managed to steal the chromer from the Guardians. This is a moment of true happiness, because now ATEEZ can finally go back home and escape this reality, but their victory is immediately interrupted by the arrival of the Guardians themselves. When one of the giants grabs Yeosang by the neck, Yeosang manages to throw the chromer to Honjung and tells him to escape with the others, but Honjung refuses because ATEEZ are 8 and nobody must be left behind. In a desperate attempt at saving Yeosang's life, Honjung throws the chromer to the Guardians, but much like what we see in the video, Yeosang catches it mid-air, turns it, and then smashes it on the floor, breaking it once and for all. In a flash of light, ATEEZ suddenly go back to the warehouse, but their joy soon becomes horror because Yeosang is not actually with them. Much like what we see at the end of the video, Yeosang is now stuck in the dystopia by himself, and even if we don't know what will happen to him, the final shot implies that the boys will eventually find a way to reunite. To know how things will play out, however, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!